1962, none other than the world's biggest reigning sex symbol, Marilyn Monroe, decided to sign on the dotted line at 20th Century Fox to commence filming her very final film, Something's Got to Give. Now, this was a remake of another movie from 1940 which starred Cary Grant called My Favourite Wife. It had been updated by Nunnally Johnson, the much respected screenwriter who'd done a lot of work with Marilyn on and off over the years. Things started off incredibly well. Marilyn looked the best she'd ever looked in years, and at 35, 36 years old, she was very concerned about holding on to her infamous sex symbol status. Interesting to note now that this particular revelation has come out. As ever, let me share it with you. Morning, how are you? Nice to see you. And as ever, thank you so much for joining me. Yes, yeah, well, I know that there's a lot of us sex symbols out there, aren't there? Well, I can see you're one. Of course. Well, you would be if you got dressed, obviously. Yes. Of course, it's always nice to talk about real iconic international sex symbols, isn't it? In the shape, of course, of the brilliant and beautiful Marilyn Monroe. Now, I've interviewed many people over the years that knew Marilyn, particularly in the last few years of her life. Everybody from Mickey Rooney to Jack Lemmon's son to Dean Martin's son. A wonderful man, sadly, who's no longer with us, but what a character he was, literally all alone. Now, what I liked about chatting to him was he gave you a real insight, because let's not forget, in 1962, Marilyn was co-starring with his late father in her very final movie. As I say, Something's Got to Give. Now, what's interesting about this particular story is, as you know, every now and again, and I don't know if you find this, but I find this incredible, in fact, that there seems to be new, things they find to sell that you think had gone forever, missing in action, whether it could be a former lipstick tube or a powder or something. Somewhere down the line, somebody finds something new. Now, Julian's, the auctioneers over in Beverly Hills, have got quite a big selection of new Marilyn Monroe memorabilia, including this. That's right, one of the original scripts from March 1962 of Something's Got to Give. And as you can see, it's got an eye-watering price that it's apparently going to be fetching. And the big sort of piece de resistance with this particular script is the fact that it has some of Miss Monroe's pencil scribblings on. Now, for all of us film aficionados, we all know that Marilyn was very unhappy with the script. The bigger reason really was the fact that her rival, Elizabeth Taylor, at the same studio, was picking up $1 million to star as the Queen of the Nile, Cleopatra. And Marilyn wasn't too keen on this because she was on an old 4-deal contract from 1956. But upon completion of this particular movie, she would have fulfilled her contract and then could ask for more money, even though she was, shall we say, a little bit unstable about reaching the ripe old age, still looking stunning at 36. Now, here's where it gets really interesting, because I do remember, and this is on tape, of Dean Martin's son telling me about the numerous script changes that were delivered to Marilyn Monroe's 5th Helena Drive house every single night, which was sending her potty, particularly from the screenwriter Nunnally Johnson, because she'd learn it, and suddenly at 10 o'clock at night, a new script would come and she'd have to be at the studio by 5:30. You can understand why she was apprehensive, yeah? Now, what's interesting here is there's no mention of the fact that, of course, there were numerous scripts, numerous rewrites, and I'm not knocking this as an auctioneer. But what I'm saying is, if you think you're getting a one-off thing, a real gem of a thing that you're never going to see again, well, there's quite a few more simply knocking around. And of course, as Dean Martin's son pointed out to me, Marilyn was anything but the lost cause that was portrayed in the media. In fact, she was very savvy, knew what she wanted to do, and that was the whole reasoning behind that now infamous strip at the pool. Remember, you saw those pictures? This was really to simply knock off her rival, Elizabeth Taylor, off all of the magazine covers around the world. She didn't require any money. She could have got quite a lot of money, even in 1962. But all she asked from Lawrence Schiller, the photographer of the day, was just a projector to look at the slides on. Apparently he was moved to tears. I'm sure he was, looking at what he was going to be earning. You get the picture. But back to this. So if you are thinking of, yes, literally scooping out and thinking you're getting a one-off, that was it, just the one and only script owned by Marilyn the very few months of her life, well, there's a lot more to come. And more importantly, no doubt somewhere down the line, somebody will miraculously find more Something's Got to Give scripts with more scribblings of Marilyn's very anxious notes ahead of filming on the ill-fated movie. Sadly, she made her last movie appearance on celluloid film literally on her birthday, June the 1st. There were plans to reinstate her after Fox fired her from the studio boss Peter LaVey's, but sadly, as we know, it didn't end in the way that everybody had hoped. Marilyn remains half finished and part documentary, but if you look online at some of the very last footage shot, she truly remains as beautiful as ever. Clearly, something had to give, and this time around, it was Marilyn Monroe. Would you be given a lot, though, for that particular script? Do let me know, like and share and comment. I'd love to know your thoughts. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.